Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're doing another installment of Hot and Cold. For this segment, we'll be looking at any songs put out between January 27th and February 2nd, 2019. As per usual, the tracks will be linked in the description, and if you notice that a song or two is missing, feel free to let me know. Also, while you're letting me know that, feel free to comment down below, leave a like, subscribe to make sure that you're on top of any future content that I will be coming out with. Let's get into the list here. Hot tracks up first, of course, we have Cage the Elephant with a new single for their upcoming album called Ready to Let Go. I've already done a full-length review of it on this channel, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already done so. But what I'll tell you here is that it's a great track and it's a welcome return for the American alternative rock band. There's a lot to like about the song, including the Arctic Monkeys-like guitar tones, the groovy bass, and steady drum pattern. Up next we have Lil Peep and iLoveMakonnen collaborating with Patrick Stump of Fall Out Boy on a track called I've Been Waiting. This marks the first time that Lil Peep and iLoveMakonnen have worked together since the song Sunlight on Your Skin, which eventually became the track Falling Down. Falling Down was made as a collaboration between XXXTentacion and Lil Peep, and as we all know, neither artist is with us right now. But anyways, this posthumous release here, I've Been Waiting, is a follow-up single to 2018's Come Over When You're Sober Part 2. When you're listening to the song, you'll notice that there's a very poppy influence to it from the guitar tone and the chord progression, which sound a lot like Jackie Chan by Post Malone. But to build on top of this mainstream approach to the song, you'll notice that there's an emphasis to the bass and the emo punk influence. Lil Peep's voice is notably angsty and angry, but it's kind of toned down a notch just to make the track feel a bit safer and more accessible. And the pop feel of this track definitely comes through with the repetitive guitar riff and the vocal performances from the other two artists. I thoroughly enjoy the song and I highly recommend it. The next track on the hot list here is entitled Keep It Simple by the James Barker Band. And it was only some time before I put a country song on this hot list here, although it technically isn't full-on country, it's more rooted in pop just based on the clean looped guitar. Either way, the tune is contagious and it's as simple as the title would suggest. The lyrics are straightforward, probably the only thing holding it back from being super amazing, but I can tolerate it if it just means that I get to hum along to a great melody. Next up we have some funky rock from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This one is called Sai Boogie. And wow, this thing keeps its swing groove interesting for its near 7-minute runtime. A lot of experimental tones are thrown on the organs and the synthesizers, and I'm just starting to check out this artist, so I'd appreciate it if someone could help me kind of find a good place to start with their music, because I know that they're very prolific songwriters and they've put out a lot of albums in the past couple years, so I'm kind of just lost about where I should begin. Elsewhere, Billie Eilish has dropped a new single for her upcoming album that's called Bury a Friend. I like it, the beat is scary, the vocals remind me of a darker influence of Lorde. The vocal delivery is pretty apathetic, but I still like the song. Another hot track from the past week, we had the American Authors dropping a new album, and I've selected their intro cut from it called Stay Around. Technically it came out earlier in January, but I feel like it still deserves a mention on this week's video. This track is influenced by the sound that has shaped a lot of Imagine Dragons' music, especially in the Evolve era. You know, like the spacey kind of synthesizers, the vocal modulations. The track isn't very inventive, and by no means am I saying Imagine Dragons are inventive either. It's just between the confident drumming and vocal performance that I'm really digging this song. Especially the tail end of the track, that really pulls me in, and it's another song that's got my head bobbing on this list here. Ryan Adams has made a return with his indie rock song F the Rain. It's another artist I'm checking out for the first time, and technically this song did also come out earlier in January. I can really only compare Ryan Adams' voice and music to Kurt Vile, which is pretty good company to put yourself in because I enjoy his music quite a bit. However, instead of being expanded in song form with labyrinth-like sections, Ryan Adams makes an enjoyable 3.5-minute song that sees a showcase of sultry guitar and a slower kind of burn of song. Elsewhere, deadmau5 has put out more music in the past week with his album called Mouseville Level 3. The track I've selected here is called Polyphobia. Again, it's another encapsulating listen that alternates between an introspective keyboard and unnerving synthesizer house beat, which kind of fades in and out for several seconds at a time, but it's still super enjoyable from start to finish. Rounding out this week for Hot Tracks, we have one of the new singles from Big Boy, who is fresh off his Super Bowl performance. Doing It is the title, and it's a very playful song with the piano. Kind of reminds me of an instrumental that Chance the Rapper would use. But the melody and flow are also very memorable. Now onto the middle of the road tracks. These are not the greatest, they aren't the worst. These are just ones that I think are okay and you might like them a little bit more. Starting this off, we have Are You Bored Yet by the indie rock band Waldos. I want to love this song more than I do. I think there's a pretty appealing chorus to it, but I feel like the verses are forgettable in my mind at least. Moving on from there, we have Interpol with their new single called Fine Mess, and this one is very loud, it's very abrasive. The energy eventually dies down, but the guitars kind of weave their way through the entire track, and they're mixed super loud and to a point where the vocals can't really be heard. Not that the vocals are mixed very well either. In fact, the entire song is distorted, that I just can't see the enjoyment to it. Now onto the cold tracks. These were definitely the worst that I heard. Women by Florida Georgia Line and Jason Derulo. An odd pairing of artists for sure. I don't know what they're doing. It's as awkward as a country ballad can get. Very dramatic. It's like these guys are begging for forgiveness from women, or they're just trying to like show this display of affection just so they can, I don't know, be given something they want. A very naive way to play the song. They don't understand where their attraction for women is coming from, and it's like they're playing dumb, but not in a good way. Moving on from there, we have Big Boy with Return of the Dope Game. This song is terrible until Killer Mike comes in the final minute. But it's not worth sitting through the first 2 minutes to get to that point. Wiz Kalifa put out a song with Trippie Redd. I like Trippie Redd. I don't like this song though, which is quite the disappointment actually. I just think the song is heavily generic. There's nothing interesting to it, and it's not worth your time. Seven Rings remix with Ariana Grande featuring 2 Chainz. The track is still very bad. It's essentially the same as the original with the addition of auto-tune 2 Chainz. He's using a very derivative staccato triplet flow. That's not something I'm really into. Not a fan. Moving on. The last song this week I'll be looking at is Lil Pump, Racks on Racks. The saving grace is it's over after 2 minutes, but it's a very difficult 2 minutes to get through. The lyrics are pretty funny, so if I just read them alone without listening to the music, it's okay. But the music itself is nothing to write home about, and yeah, I can't really imagine myself in any environment where I'd be actively listening to this music. Anyways, that does it for episode 4 of Hot and Cold. Let me know what you think of these songs. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm always on the hunt for new music. Sound off down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. And as always, have a rockin' day.